The Empire Strikes Back is a sequel to the original Star Wars film and tells the story of the rebellion trying to go up against the Empire once again, but this time the Empire has the upper hand. Our heroes are trying to flee from them, while Luke Skywalker is trying to get some training from Yoda, which will then lead him to a confrontation and a reveal of his past that will change the course of the war. This is considered to this day to be the best Star Wars film, as it had the most intriguing plot, the most iconic moments and characters. It had the biggest plot reveal in movie history, and honestly, I think that stands to hold up very well. The movie is absolutely fantastic, and in my opinion, is better than the original. It had the most engaging plot. It is a lot darker and more serious. The visual effects got exponentially better, and the intrigue within the story and where things lead our characters to is just absolutely well written and engaging to watch. I love the sequences in Hoth to where our rebellion characters are trying to hide from the Empire. And from what we've seen before, we were pretty confident that they would win this battle, but seeing them actually lose to the Empire makes them even more formidable threats than they were before. They felt imposing. They're always one step ahead of the rebellion. And the character Darth Vader is at his best here. He is trying to manipulate his way through everything. He commands every sequence with his force and inability to accept failure. He is an imposing threat here. And I love the performance James Earl Jones gives his character here, as he feels even more threatening than before. This is a pissed off Darth Vader that just wants to see the rebellion suffer. So because of this imposing threat looming, Luke must get further training from Yoda, who is a former master of Obi-Wan. And this character here is just absolutely fantastic. I talked about him less in the prequels, as he just sits there and does stuff from time to time. But in the original trilogy, Yoda is such an entertaining character. And I love the practical puppet effects utilized here to bring this character to life. The performance by Frank Oz is absolutely fantastic. And his banter with Luke Skywalker, with this mentor and student relationship that they have with one another, is great. Seeing him show Luke the air of some of his powers and what he needs to improve upon is absolutely fantastic. How he utilized certain moments within Luke Skywalker's life and how that's going to lead into the finale is very great. I overall love the entire Hoth. I absolutely love this entire sequence in Dagobah where he lifts up this giant ship that Luke couldn't, and Luke constantly puts himself down when all he needs to do is trust himself, trust in the Force. And Yoda just had to give one of my favorite comebacks to any character in a film I've seen. This later leads us to the Cloud City, where we meet Lando, who is an old friend of Han Solo, and their banter at first is pretty fun. They're likable characters that work well together, but you could tell off the bat that there's something going on, and Leia notices that immediately, as something doesn't seem right. It feels a little too forced, this reunion. As this reunion feels a little bit too forcefully welcoming. And she is right, because it seems like the Empire has caught up to Lando before the rebellion could, and it leads to so many torturous moments with our characters that puts them at their lowest moment. Especially when we explore the relationship between Han Solo and Leia here, as they start to grow closer together throughout the course of this film, as they try to make a run from the Empire, especially in this crater sequence where they grow closer with one another as they try to repair the ship. When we get to the climax where they have to face off against Darth Vader and he tortures them both physically and emotionally, it is just tragic to watch, because we see these characters grow closer together. romantically especially, and it's so sad to see them go apart like this. And it has our characters actually lose against the Empire. At least for a brief moment until Luke Skywalker comes into the picture. But even he is no match, as he is too driven by his emotions to think straight within this battle against Darth Vader. And while there are moments he had the upper hand, he eventually does loses the battle, which leads to one of the most impactful and the most important plot twists within this franchise. And while this plot twist is a bit ruined by the prequels, as we know where things are going to go from there to here, it is still nonetheless very impactful and brings our characters to a state of just downright sadness, and they are just at their lowest point. They lost the battle and they need to regain their former self. They need to save Han Solo, which leads us to a very anticlimactic ending to where we see all of our characters have lost. And I like that. It gives us a very tragic end and has us wondering what's going to happen in the next film. Overall, I could find very little wrong with this movie. All the visual effects look great. The story is engaging. It's a lot darker. The action is fantastic. The lightsaber duels are even better than the previous film. This was an overall step up from what is a perfect film, and it just made it even better. I'm going to give The Empire Strikes Back an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.